All right, we're going to talk about section 2 today, angles and angle measures. All right, so we are going to spend a fair amount of time talking about measuring angles in the x-y axis. All right, and we're going to start off by talking about what it means to measure an angle in standard position. So measuring an angle in standard position means you start the angle with the positive x-axis, okay, so right here, and that is 0 degrees. Okay. Then, as we go around the circle, we're going to measure an angle like this. So maybe we'll just go, as an example, we'll go part way into the second quadrant here. So this angle, maybe we'll call it theta. That's an angle measured in standard position. Okay. If you measure from standard position, then we can label what the axes are. So this would be 90 degrees here. If you go around to the negative x-axis, that would be 180 degrees. If you go around to the negative y-axis, that'd be 270 degrees. This would be 360 degrees if you went all the way around. And then you can actually keep going. So like this would be 450, and then this would be 540, and you can just keep going around and around. Okay, but that's what we mean by measuring angles in standard position. So let's just draw a couple angles here. So, excuse me. Oh, I should also say this. A negative angle is measured from the positive x-axis, but going in, it would be the clockwise direction. So standard position angle measure is counterclockwise, but if it's a negative angle, then it's goes clockwise. And so this would be like a negative theta. Okay, so it's some negative angle. All right, so let's sketch in 100 degrees. So 100 degrees, you're going to be sort of approximating here. You don't need to use a protractor or anything like that. We know that this is 90 here. So 100 degrees is going to be a little bit past that. Okay, so maybe we sketch in as theta is 100 degrees, like that. Okay. Negative 20 degrees. Well, 20 degrees isn't that much, and it's in the negative direction, so it means it's going to be going this way. So this would be approximately negative 20 degrees. Okay. So an interesting thing happens when you set up angles measuring in this way, and that is that you can get to the same terminal side. Actually, we should write that. So this right here is the initial side of the angle. And this side right here of the angle is called the terminal side. It's where the angle terminates. So this is the terminal side. And it turns out that there's multiple ways to get to the terminal side. So for example, let's sketch in an angle of, let's stick with our 100 degrees here because 100 is easy to think about. So sketch in 100 degrees. So what is another way to get to this terminal side here? All right, well, one thing that you could do is you could go in the opposite direction, right? So you could go like this direction to get to that terminal side. And so you think, well, what angle would that be? Well, it'd be 90, 180, plus whatever this gap is here, okay? And it's 10 degrees past 90, so this would be an extra 80 degrees. So it'd be 260 degrees for this angle, negative 260 degrees. Another way to think about that is all the way around would be 360. Subtract away 100, and that gives you negative 260. So we would say that 100 and negative 260 are coterminal angles. Coterminal meaning they have the same terminal side. But we don't even just have to go in the negative direction. We can go in the positive direction, just go around again. Okay, so it's going to get sort of ugly, I'm afraid. But if I go around, that's 100. And if I go around another full circle, then that angle right there would be 100 degrees plus 360. So that angle that I just sketched in would be 460 degrees. All three of these are coterminal angles. All right. So it would be a good idea to try this next one on your own. So draw a positive and negative coterminal angle to the given angle. So negative 450, I'm going to sketch that in first. So it's going to be negative 90, 180, 270, 360, 450 would be right here. So that's negative 450. So I want an angle that terminates on this side, terminates right there, so that it's coterminal. Okay? So the first thing I notice is I can just go around 270. 270 gets you to the same place. So positive 270 would be 1. I can go negative 90. takes you to the same place. So negative 90 would be coterminal. So that gives you a positive and a negative coterminal angle. All right. So practice. You should draw these in standard position and see how you do. So hopefully you pause the video and try these. I'm going to show you the answers now. 225. So this would be 90, 180, and then this would be 45 degrees past 180. So that would be 225. Right? And then 720. So that would be around 360, and then around another 360. So that's what 720 looks like. And then negative 200 is negative 180 plus 20 degrees, so negative 200 is right here, approximately. Okay, now, can you find one positive and one negative coterminal angle to each one of these? So you should go ahead and pause the video and try it. Here's the answers. Turns out that this is actually can be done without doing too much like even sketching the angles. If you notice, what we can do is we can subtract and add 360 degrees. That's adding or subtracting a full circle, and so that's going to land you in exactly the same place. So if I take 225 and I subtract 360, then I get negative 135. Well, that is this angle right here. It's negative 135. So that gives you a coterminal angle. A positive one, we would just take 225 and add 360. So I get 585. The next one, looking at 720, I can take 720 minus 360. Excuse me. I get 360, so that's a positive coterminal angle. If I subtract 360 again, I get 0. I'm still not negative, so I'm going to have to subtract 360 again, and that'll give me negative 360. Same thing over here. You get a positive 160 when you add 360 and a negative 560 when you subtract 360. Okay? All right, back page. There are two different kinds of ways to measure radians, okay? And so I'm going to stop the video here and convert this into a second part so that we can kind of answer these questions here, number 4.